In the year 1590, a ship emerged from the thick fog of the Atlantic Ocean, dropping anchor off the coast of the New World. What the crew was about to discover would baffle historians for centuries. 115 English pioneers, men, women, and children, had established a settlement here. They were supposed to be the future of the British Empire. But when their governor returned after a 3-year supply trip, the entire colony had completely vanished. There were no signs of a struggle, no bodies, no graves. Houses were neatly dismantled, cattle were gone. It was as if a community of over 100 people had simply evaporated into thin air. The only clue left behind was a single word carved into a wooden post, a word that has fueled conspiracies, dark folklore, and terror for over 400 years. What really happened to the Lost Colony of Roanoke? To understand the disappearance, we must look at the desperate ambition of the English crown. In the late 16th century, England was locked in a brutal Cold War with Spain. Queen Elizabeth I knew that whoever controlled the New World would control the world's wealth. She authorized the charismatic explorer, Sir Walter Raleigh, to fund an expedition to establish the first permanent English settlement in North America. In 1587, 3 ships carrying 115 civilian settlers left England. Unlike previous military expeditions, this group included women and children. These were families looking for a new life. Leading them was John White, an artist and friend of Raleigh, who was appointed governor of the new colony. Among the passengers was his pregnant daughter, Eleanor Dare. They landed on Roanoke Island, but trouble began almost immediately. Food supplies were dangerously low. Worse, the local Croatoan tribe was deeply hostile due to previous violent encounters with European explorers. Within weeks of landing, a colonist was found murdered in the woods. Realizing they wouldn't survive the winter without help, the colonists begged Governor John White to sail back to England and return with emergency supplies. Reluctantly, leaving his family and his newborn granddaughter behind, White boarded a ship, promising to return in 9 months. But John White's 9-month promise became a 3-year nightmare. Just as he arrived in England, a massive geopolitical crisis erupted. The Spanish Armada launched a catastrophic invasion fleet against Britain. Queen Elizabeth seized every single seaworthy ship for the war effort. White was trapped. For 3 long years, he could only look out across the Atlantic, wondering if his daughter, his grandchild, and his people were still alive, or if the wilderness had consumed them. Finally, in August of 1590, the war ended, and White returned to Roanoke. It was evening when they landed. They blew a trumpet and sang familiar English songs into the dark woods. But only silence answered. The next morning, White marched into the settlement. The sight was chilling. The fort was completely empty. The houses had been taken down. White searched desperately for a prearranged distress signal, a Maltese cross, which the colonists promised to carve if they were under attack. There was no cross. There was only the word Croatoan carved into a prominent post in Ciro on a nearby tree. Before leaving, the colonists mentioned they might move 50 miles south to Croatoan Island, modern-day Hatteras Island, home to the friendly Croatoan tribe. This leads to theory number 1, assimilation. Did the starving colonists simply join the Native Americans to survive? Generations later, European settlers in North America reported finding Native Americans with gray eyes and European features who claimed ancestors who could talk out of a book. But there is a darker alternative. Theory number 2, the Spanish strike. Spanish fleets regularly patrolled these waters. Did they discover the secret English colony and massacre them to eliminate their rivals? Or did local hostile tribes wipe them out in a swift, silent assault? In recent years, modern archaeologists have dug deep into the soil of North Carolina. They have found 16th century English sword hilts, European pottery fragments, and a British gold signet ring buried deep within ancient Native American sites. The clues point heavily to survival and integration, yet no definitive group grave, no diary, and no definitive proof has ever been recovered. For Governor John White, the mystery was a personal tragedy. A fierce storm forced his rescue ships away from the coast before he could search Croatoan Island. He was forced to sail back to England, never knowing the fate of his family. 115 souls walked into the American wilderness, leaving behind nothing but a word carved in wood. They wanted to build a new world. Instead, they became history's greatest ghost story. What do you believe happened to the Lost Colony? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold historical archives. Until next time.